All right, another forecast video for this weekend and Christmas week heading into New Year's Eve. So we're talking temperatures right now. They're rebounding quite well ahead of the next storm system that is going to be passing through the upper Midwest into the upper Great Lakes and eventually into southern Canada through the day today, tomorrow, and into early Saturday. And that is going to be delivering our next shot of cold air. Not as cold as last weekend's shot, but it's still going to be pretty cold, pretty chilly. But it's not going to be, like I said, it's not going to be as intense as last weekend. But it's going to be noticeable, but we're going to rebound ahead of that front because it's going to be associated with a front that extends all the way to the southeast. And ahead of that front, you get southerly flow, you get warmer temperatures. So we're talking temperatures right now, 38 degrees in Minneapolis, Des Moines, Iowa sitting at 40 degrees, Jefferson City, Missouri sitting at 60. Must feel really nice right there. I mean, you could break out the cargo shorts and Crocs if you were in Jefferson City. Indianapolis is sitting at 44, Columbus, Ohio 41. Chicago O'Hare Airport is reporting 46 with Milwaukee at 42. We're going to take a look across the Northeast real quick. And I still left Olaf on the map because we're trying to get him to get on out of here. But this morning it is still pretty chilly, but not quite as bad as the previous few mornings. A little bit colder this morning than it was yesterday at this time in Harrisburg. HIA is reporting 24 degrees. With Trenton, New Jersey at 26. New York City, Central Park, New York City is at 38. Syracuse 29. And Boston is at 33. Boston is at 33. Now let's move and take a look at the southeastern states. Miami is at 75. So you could be sitting with your toes in the water, sitting along the coastline, just sipping on a margarita right now if you were in Miami. Jacksonville, a little bit too cold for that, but it's sitting at 60 degrees, still better than 24 in HIA. And Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 55. Jackson, Mississippi is at 59. Montgomery, Alabama, 55. And Atlanta is at 54. And we're going to take a look at the upper air map now because we're going to start talking about this system that is going to be delivering our next shot of cold air. And this is the piece of energy right here. I'm showing you the GFS upper air map right now. And this is the piece of energy that we're focusing on right now. This is going to be delivering our next shot of cold air, and it's going to be associated with a front that extends all the way to the southeast. And as you can see, I'm going to move it forward. This is valid for today at 4 p.m. Piece of energy is sitting right over the upper Midwest, and it's going to be pushing to the northeast throughout the day today, through the day tomorrow, and early Saturday. And that is our first shot of cold air. But then we do get a reinforcement shot, another reinforcement shot late weekend for some more cold air. And that's going to be associated with this piece of energy right here. I'll move this forward here so you can see. And I'll show you on the service map what that looks like. But you get two fresh shots of cold air. The first one is a bit more potent. The second one is less potent, more to the north, and not nearly as much moisture. And let me show you what it looks like on the surface. So here is that system that I'm talking about right now. This is this morning. It's going to move through the upper Great Lakes through the afternoon and evening hours. And you can see this potent front is extending all the way down to the southeast. And it's going to bring heavy showers and storms and some strong winds and heavy rain to the region as it passes through. And it's going to pass through the southeast through late tonight, early tomorrow morning. It's going to push off the east coast through the day tomorrow and into early Saturday morning. And we are stuck in the cold then behind this front. And then here is that next system that I was talking about that will deliver a fresh shot of cold air to the northeast and the northern, the Midwest, the upper Midwest through the weekend, through the late weekend. There that storm system is. Much less moisture associated with it, not nearly as potent as the first one, but it's still going to reinforce that cold air, and I'll show you here on the temperature map as to what that's going to look like. So this is today. You can see that cold air draining into the upper Midwest, into the Ohio Valley, and then eventually into the Mid-Atlantic through tomorrow, through late tomorrow, early Saturday. And temperatures on Saturday across the Northeast and the Midwest are going to be quite cold. Not nearly as, like I said, not nearly as cold as last weekend and early this week, but it's still going to, I mean, we're talking temperatures into the mid 30s. And then if you're across southern Pennsylvania, if you're across northern Pennsylvania into New York, we're talking temperatures in the 20s, and we're talking temperatures in the single digits across North Dakota and Minnesota, especially once you get to the northern portion towards the border of Canada. We're talking temperatures in the single digits. So it's going to be quite chilly. And then there is our second shot of cold air that reinforces the first shot. Not nearly as potent as the first one, but it's still going to deliver another shot of cold air, and it's going to keep temperatures, down pretty good for us. I mean, it's going to feel like Christmas. And I'm going to move on to our last topic here before we go. This is the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, and we're talking above average temperatures from Christmas through New Year's Eve, and I'll show you why. I know you guys want to know why, so I'll show you why. This is the upper air map. I'm going to move this along to Christmas Eve here. You can see as we get closer to Christmas Eve, you get this ridge building in the south central U.S., and it builds and builds and builds, and where you get a ridge, you get warm temperatures. So we're getting a ridge to form in the south central U.S. We're going to have southerly flow, and it's going to bring nice warm temperatures for an extended period of time. So it's going to be a nice Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and New Year's Eve for a lot of folks, especially if you're living in the south central and southeastern United States. Up in the mid-Atlantic, we're going to talk temperatures more along the lines of normal, might be slightly above average. But once you get down to the south central United States and southeastern United States, we're talking temperatures well above average for the next 8 to 14 for the 8 to 14 day period. And then I'm going to show you what that looks like on the temperature map too, because let's show you here. This is Christmas Eve. We're talking temperatures on Christmas Eve around 4 p.m. into the 70s across Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, into the 60s, upper 60s in portions of Nebraska, and into the 70s in Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana. And then we'll move along to Christmas Day. This is 4 p.m. on Christmas Day. Temperatures into the 80s across portions of Texas, Oklahoma, possibly into southern Kansas, into the 70s across Nebraska, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, into the 70s across Florida, South Carolina, and upper 60s across North Carolina. So it's going to be a nice Christmas day if you're across the south central and southeastern U.S. And then the day after Christmas, same story. It's a little bit more confined to the southern half of the U.S., not as far up. Once you get into Nebraska, we're talking temperatures back into the 40s, and northern Kansas back into the mid to upper 40s also, with the southern portion of the state possibly reaching into the 50s. But that's because the ridge does break down for a little bit before it rebuilds here, and you'll see it rebuild. There we go. See, there's the ridge kind of does rebuild against ahead of our next system that we'll push through that will kind of help to break down the ridge, and temperatures do rebound ahead of that. So it's going to be a nice warm stretch across a large portion of the U.S. from Christmas Day or Christmas Eve really through New Year's Eve. So hope you guys enjoy. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for our next update, probably tomorrow, maybe tonight if I have time. But thank you guys for watching.